evidence-based practice is huge now. So if there's one concept you're going to get out of this course, I hope that it's this concept of EBP, evidence-based practice. And what that basically means is this idea that we can't just do research. We now see a huge increase in the demand for making sure that you're combining your experience with what works for your client. It's not enough to just develop a program and say, here you go, it's based on research, but what works for your client and what responds to what you know works. If something was tested in the United Kingdom with a group of psychotherapists, is that really going to apply to your experience, to your clients, and your practice? It's important to think about that, and that's one of the things that social work is really heavily focused on right now. So that could include outcomes. So for example, the outcome of evidence-based practice is that treatment or that intervention that works across different groups or can be adapted to different groups. And a lot of it's just the practice. Our social workers, are you just going in there and winging it when you meet with a client? Or do you know that you're using, for example, motivational interviewing to get to build that trusting relationship and to get honest answers? Are you using strengths-based models to focus on the client feeling empowered rather than feeling challenged or weak? So those, so it's not just the program itself, but it's just how you approach a client and how you make those decisions. We know there's challenges in that, from resources to supervision and skills to agency culture. And so a lot of the training you'll go through as a social worker and a lot of conferences will be dealing with how to address these different gaps. You're going to have these regardless. And so you want to start keeping an eye out now as you go into the practice field. So to kind of sum up then, the just general idea of research and critical thinking and challenging things and how research is used to challenge what you thought you knew or what others think you know. Think of research kind of as this hourglass, right? So you start with these broad questions. How do I help youth who are transgender? Why do women who are abused go back to their abusive partners? Then you narrow down. What makes women in North Texas return to violent relationships? Or what can be done to help transgender youth in preventing suicide? You operationalize, which means you really give it a good, strong definition. What does suicide mean? What does abuser mean? What does victim mean? Those can mean different things, and so you have to really define it. Then you observe. This is where you do a survey, or you do a focus group, or you look at data that's already been collected. You get your data. You analyze it, then you reach some conclusions. You know, it seems like these are some of the causes that contribute to a woman returning. It could be the children, it could be lack of employment skills. And then you generalize. So what does this mean? Does this mean that if there was a program that could help women get employment skills, they would be better prepared to leave or avoid abusive situations? Then let's test that. Let's do a program that does that and test that. So you see this kind of process.